Hey y'all, you're listening to Diagnosing Sitcoms and Movies, the DSM podcast. We help make mental health more comfortable by using Black movies and shows we know and love and culture to remove stigma. So join our convo with your host, Courtney Copeland, licensed mental health counselor.
And Dr. B, licensed professional counselor.
Okay, well today we are jumping into the 1997 American musical fantasy television film produced by Walt Disney Television, the Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, because the only Cinderella we acknowledge is Brandy and sometimes Keke Palmer on Broadway. Okay, so since this is one of your absolute favorites, please do us the honor of giving us your first quotable.
So I think my first quotable is more so of like the song, Falling in Love with Love.
Falling in love with love is playing a fool.
That's it.
You better hit that note, girl. I heard that. And actually, that song wasn't even in the original Rodgers and Hammerstein's version. That is a song from another Rodgers and Hammerstein play that they put in because they just love Miss Bernadette Peters and her voice so much. And so she needed a song. And so it fits seamlessly with the play, with the movie and everything that they did.
Yes, I love that song. And I love how she sings it, which is why it's one of my favorites. And then it's like, when the girls join in, the sisters join in, it's like
falling in love with love is playing a fool.
And that's just like I have to sing it like that every time.
You should.
And then one of the dope lines that Cinderella, she kind of was preaching to Prince Charming. She says, or what is his name? His name is not Prince Charming. I don't know why I keep saying that.
That's who he is. It's Prince Christopher. Chris. Is it just Chris? Christopher. There's a lot of names. Herbert, Bartholomew. There's a whole song.
Herbert.
Herbert.
So when they were in the flower garden or courtyard, and he says, she responds to him, I doubt he has any idea how a girl should be treated. And then the prince says, like a princess, I suppose. And she says, no, like a person with kindness and respect. And I really like that. I don't think I paid attention to it when she said it when I was younger. But as an adult, I was like, oh, yes, she better talk. Yes. She wants to be treated like a person with kindness and respect. Forget being treated like a princess.
Which is beautiful. Accurate? You have to tell people how you want to be treated. You train people how to treat you. And so I thought that it was very good, despite all of their awkward bonding that they had and attachment to people. I thought that it was very good that she was asking for exactly what it was that she wanted. And she was communicating early in their relationship, like, no, you're going to treat me like a human being, brother.
That's right. So those were a couple of my quotables. Oh, and then another one when I want to say Wicked Stepmother says,
remember, girls, we hide our flaws until after the wedding.
I was like, oh no. I don't know why that one was one of my favorites.
So that's how you're supposed to do it. You wait till after. Darn it.
We've been messing up all this time, girl. Now I got to do it all over again.
So I had several. Of course, it's possible.
Impossible.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. How could I forget that?
Impossible. 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 Impossible.
When they go back and forth with each other.
It's beautiful.
I love it. The best.
And there was like a behind the scenes, I remember like back in the day where they were rehearsing the song and recording it on how they wanted to go. And Whitney turned and looked at Brandy and was like, why are you way down there? We're singing it up here.
Because Brandy is like the all-star alto. But she has range, Very talented. I think she's definitely one of the celebrities that were like the 90s celebrities that got slept on. But you know,
I mean, she was the number one seller during her time, and so I feel like people don't remember that because they get caught up on like the extra stuff and they forget like, no, she was chart topping. Wasn't nobody beating her record sales at that time. And there's also so much shade in that song too. I just love because when he's like, for a plain country bumpkin and a prince to join in marriage, like she just called you a country bumpkin.
Okay.
Impossible for a plain country bumpkin and a prince to join in marriage.
That's what she's saying. I could turn anything, even your country bumpkin ass. Yes.
And Wendy, she was just serving up so many moments. Like when she was first in the window and Brandy was like, "You're my fairy godmother." And Wendy was like, "Girl, you got a problem with that? Because if you'd rather have some old lady in a tutu, you know, sprinkling fairy dust, I could just go. Like, I don't have to be here."
She sure did get her together. Listen, you want me to send somebody else? Girl, you lucky I'm here. Sure.
Right. For your plain country bumpkin self.
Go sit in your own little corner.
And then my last one goes to where Lionel says, "Who dances in glass shoes?" Because in my mind, I mean, now it is the trend and everyone is wearing the clear, you know, heels with the clear plastic straps and stuff like that. But in my mind, only strippers wore clear shoes and they dance really well in glass shoes. So I was like, what do you mean, Lionel? Like strippers do it all the time and they can do flips and tricks and turns. But then, you know, as I got older, I realized that those probably weren't glass shoes. Those were plastic shoes. But nonetheless, there are lots of women out here dancing in those clear shoes.
I have so many questions. But I'm gonna let you. But that glass shoe was trash. Like when they actually got to zoom in on it, I was like, "That's an ugly shoe."
She couldn't have a heel.
Okay, that little Miss Meow Kitten heel. She had a kitten heel for real. No wonder why she could waltz in it. I couldn't.
And then just the thought of every single woman in all of the kingdom putting on that same shoe.
First of all, I don't understand why you have to put every woman's foot in it if they didn't look anything like her. And I feel like in this land of Cinderella, like, this version of Cinderella, there's no such thing as color, you know?
Right.
So,
race
like,
does not exist.
Race does not exist, especially when you think about the king and queen and then the prince turning out to be who he was. I was like, I had a lot of questions watching it as an adult. I was like, I never picked up on that as a kid. Like, this is a really interesting dynamic. But I'm like, why would he have to put every woman's foot in the shoe if he knew what she looked like? So was she that? And then like, they were like, "Oh, we're looking for her. We couldn't find any trace of her." Like, seriously, this is the girl that was down in the market the other day. What you talking about?
I was just about to say, he didn't remember meeting her yesterday.
Right.
Then he meets her again, doesn't know it's her from yesterday, and then sees her after looking at all of the women in all of the kingdom and still doesn't know it's her. Maybe I should add like a head injury inability to facially recognize to his diagnosis.
Possibly, because I'm just like, damn, like you didn't get nothing. You didn't get any facial hair, because the redhead versus a braided updo. Come on, Prince. Come on, did you try? Did you try? He didn't try. He had to be dramatic. I'm going to search the entire kingdom.
Those dramatics is part of why I diagnosed Prince Chris, aka Charmin, with bipolar 2. I'm just let's get into
bipolar 2 though?
Yes, and I felt that.
You know, I didn't even diagnose him. I was too busy on the women, and unfortunately, like for the sisters, Cinderella and the mother, I didn't even think to diagnose him.
And I fully feel like we see him go from a depressed state into hypomania. I feel like that is the kind of the progression of the movie with some of the things that he does. And so for his depressed state, I have...
You said bipolar 2?
2. Dose. Okay. Depressed mood most of the day, nearly every day, is indicated by either subjective report or observation made by others. Markedly diminished interest or pleasure in all or almost all activities most of the day or nearly every day, and feelings of worthlessness or excessive inappropriate guilt nearly every day. And so I felt like that was him feeling like I'm not happy. The being in the palace behind these walls is not fun. Let me go dress as a commoner to try and see if I could find some type of spark in my life and make things feel a little bit better. And then his mother controlling his life and him feeling upset about that. And then we see him go into that hypomanic state where it's a flight of ideas or subjective experience that thoughts are racing. The distractibility, attention to easily drawn or unimportant or irrelevant external stimuli as reported or observed. Increased and goal-directed activity. I mean, searching an entire kingdom. Sounds very goal-directed. To find this one woman's shoe foot. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And then excessive involvement in activities that have a high potential for pain consequences.
So I'm surprised you didn't say inflated self-esteem or grandiosity.
Because I felt like he had it wasn't overly inflated. Like, I feel like as a prince, you should be like, yeah, I'm the prince. I run this. This here, my kingdom. And so I didn't feel like it was over inflated. I felt like it was warranted. I mean, you are that dude. You are fine. You're a million wild smile. Yes. Just a Colgate commercial waiting to happen. You could sing. You could waltz. Like, Prince was a catch besides him being bipolar.
Oh. Well, I think I agree with that one. I ain't got nothing against that. So, and then, like, speaking of his mother, did you have a diagnosis for her?
Yes, I did. Well, not necessarily a full-on diagnosis. I more so thought that she just exhibited a lot of mother-son enmeshment. I felt like their relationship she was like forcefully putting control over his entire life. And so he might not have had that strong sense of self and happiness because she was so enmeshed and controlling, and her wanting to kind of almost rescue him by finding him a wife. And those are common themes that come with enmeshment, that being at the mercy of her emotions or how that other person feels kind of controls how you get to move and different things like that. And I feel like a lot of her enmeshment though does come from her trying to handle the pressures of being queen. I mean, yes, we're all queens, but I really don't have to live with the pressure of an entire kingdom resting upon my shoulders and maintaining certain statuses. I mean, Meghan Markle didn't want to deal with that mess. And so with all of that pressure, I think is what kind of developed her enmeshment and her wanting to control his life, hold the parties, all of that.
Yeah, I think where that comes from, especially as a queen, is I didn't think it would be the queen who would be as pressed. I thought maybe that would come from the king more so, to make sure that his son is is the king. And I guess trying to exchange, like back in the day, like weddings were usually just to exchange or barter, if like their children for property, so if there is this one family that had cattle, then the other family had corn, they would say, okay, we'll give you several of our cattle if we're able to have a certain number of acre of your corn in exchange for my daughter. And so that really is how it was supposed to be, especially with, kingdoms, they were exchanging usually. So I wonder if that was also that added pressure of them having to exchange something, which is, I guess we'll talk about it later with Cinderella, in that she doesn't really come with much to exchange for a kingdom. You know, like she doesn't have that. So I wonder if the mother is still going to be unimpressed with his decision.
But I feel like how you were saying, you would think it would be more the father, but I feel like the father and the son had more of a healthy relationship. And so they had clear boundaries where the father was like, he's going to find someone, like, yes, that's important, but not like she was like, you're going to take over. And he was like, but not right now. Like, chill, Queen, I'm still alive. Pinch myself, I'm still here.
Right.
And so I think that that is why she was more so like the boundaries didn't exist. They weren't clear because they were all tangled up within one another. And I think that because of that enmeshment, I think, and Cinderella's like, so just willingness and aim to please, I don't think that her and the queen will butt heads as much as Cinderella would try to make the queen happy, and the queen would be happy because she can control Cinderella, and because she can control Cinderella, she can control her son, and she can control their relationships. She's probably going to tell them when to start having kids, then telling Cinderella how to dress, all of that.
So then, I mean, yes, she'll be able to control some things, but then again, like economic wise, what are they going to do as like an entire kingdom? You know, like they're going to have to fend for them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like most times those kingdoms are marrying each other. Like, oh, you got more soldiers than I do, or you have better security. So let's bring your security over here and I give you an exchange of my diamonds or my kid. Like it was crazy back then. I would hate to be a child back then.
But at the same time, in this magical world where race doesn't exist, I would also hope that there's less war. Maybe more equal distribution of resources. And so maybe she was like, yeah, our kingdom's good right now. Like we cool. We just need heirs. So pop these babies, Cindy.
True. Well, since we're talking about Cinderella.
Oh, that name.
I know.
It didn't grow on me.
Gave. Yeah. She's like, I guess it kind of grows on you. Yeah. Like, I would sit by the fire and the cinder would get on my face. So you mean you didn't get your name until you were able to sit by a fire?
Exactly.
Or when she was a baby, was she by the fire? Who would put a baby by a fire that close that they get cinder on their face? I have questions.
So is Cinderella a nickname? Like, do we not even know Cinderella's real identity all of these years?
Twilight Zone. We didn't even know her real name.
I diagnosed Cinderella with because technically part of my diagnosis is because we don't really know Cinderella's real age. In the other story, she's like really, really young, which is like really, really sad that they were marrying off children as children. But, you know, neither here nor there. Speaking different times, as you said, with the nobility. But I did diagnose her with separation anxiety disorder, with recurrent expressive distress when anticipating or experiencing separation from home or from major attachment figures, persistent and excessive worry about losing major attachment figures or about possible harm to them, such as illness, injury, disasters, or death, persistent and excessive fear of or reluctance about being alone or without major attachment figures at home or in other settings, and persistent reluctance or refusal to sleep away from home or to go to sleep without being near a major attachment figure. And so I feel like because we really don't know. We don't know when Cinderella's mom passed or what the circumstances were, if she even passed, if she just didn't, leave. We don't know what happened with Mama. But then also her father dying. And so she could have very well had that attachment to her father because of the situation, possibly with her mother. And then because her father passed afterwards, she then moved that attachment to the stepsisters and the stepmother and the actual home, because she kept saying, she even was talking to her father's spirit and saying, like, I know I told you that I wouldn't leave, but it's the way that they treated me, I might have to get out of here. But I feel like that was causing her and that anxiety response is why she stayed so long. And I think that unresolved separation anxiety is what would lead her to then, if she is 18, if she turns 18, whichever happens first, dependent personality disorder. And with that, I have her as The criteria that she meets is having difficulty making everyday decisions without an excessive amount of advice and reassurance from others, needing others to assume responsibility for most major areas of his or her life, having difficulty expressing disagreement with others because of fear of loss of support or approval, having difficulty initiating projects or doing things on his or her own because of a lack of self-confidence and judgment or abilities rather than a lack of motivation or energy. And urgently seeking another relationship as a source of care and support when a close relationship ends. And so basically she went from the evil stepmothers and the stepsisters straight into the king's palace and all of his family. And so that's going to be another source of that of support that that perceived support that she feels that she needs. And so a little trauma bonding happening, a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So for Cinderella, I had two. So I went with acute stress disorder, similar to where you were. Mm-hmm. What you're thinking, like, okay, I'm thinking like how soon or how long ago was it that she lost her father or mother and mother. Mm-hmm. But so I scratched that and I went to adjustment disorder and with depressed mood, because it was just the fact that she's having to adjust to living this life with, from her aunt, or not her aunt, her stepmother, to living with the prince. And so like kind of thinking like more future, like seeing her as princess or Cinderella as a princess versus her as just Cinderella. If I saw her at the beginning where she was just Cinderella, then I would probably just do acute stress disorder. I don't know, especially because of the timing of the death. But I do like what you were saying as far as the attachment, because then there's that side of it that also has to be talked about because of the timing of the individual's death, like her father's death and her experience with that. And how the stepmother talked about it, it was just like, it seemed as it has been years since he's died. The way she kind of like, your mother was a commoner, you're a commoner. It just seemed like
that's so evil. Who would tell that to a child? Your mama was basic, you basic, you're always gonna be basic.
That's it. I mean, and then when I was listening to it and I was watching it, I was like, damn, that's the type of thing. If you tell someone that, and I think that's why Cinderella kind of got into this thinking of where like she couldn't leave, because she had someone constantly telling her that she was nothing, she wasn't going to be anything, and that even if she did try to leave and go outside of this, space, that she wouldn't survive without them, or, and having someone drill that into your head every day, what that does to your self-esteem and your ability to actually think for yourself. I could see why she felt like she was stuck and couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I definitely think she internalized a lot of those messages. And even when her fairy godmother appeared, that was her first thing. I always hoped somebody would come and take me out of here. And even fairy godmother was like, no, Cinderella, if you want out, you have to do that yourself. Like, you have the music in you. And then when she was talking to the prince, and he was talking about what his princess would be like, he had to correct her too. Because she was like, she'd be your devoted servant forever and ever. And he was like, no, you weirdo, I've got servants. I want a partner.
And that's why I think it's so strange that, maybe that relationship with the queen would actually be harming or damaging to her relationship with the prince, because she is so willing to serve that she would almost put the needs of the queen before the prince, to please her, because she has the approval and acceptance of the prince. So the next person that she would have to please is the queen, because the king, I think he kind of got a little crush on her. So
it was giving me creep vibes. It was giving me creep vibes, because he is, pedophilia is just 5 years older than the subject.
Stop it. He was just trying to say, if he was her age, she could get it. That's it.
I guess. But I mean, he did recognize that, like, I would have to be her age in order for that. Because when she walked in, he was, a vision what I would do if I was younger. And Whoopi had to check him, talk about, what would you do?
What would you do?
I'd just be a little bit younger, now wouldn't I? No. So I will take back the Creep vibes, and I will just, he had preferences clearly for brown-skinned women. And so with that, I think maybe he did realize that he would have to be a young man in order for him to be in a relationship with her being appropriate. So I'll take back the Creep vibes, and I'll give you that he was just enchanted by her beauty.
I mean,
because of all of fairy godmother's hard work.
Right. Turning that bumpkin into the life country bumpkin. Party. Right. She was it, honey. Everybody was looking at her. Even her own stepmother didn't even recognize her, which made no sense.
All she did was put a braids in an updo.
And a little bit, a whole lot of lip liner. I hated how they did that lip liner.
Whole lot of it. Okay, can we talk about how her eyebrows gave me anxiety?
That's that 90s makeup.
It's like the makeup artist was like, nope, we're just gonna take them all off and give you one line.
I can't even front. Like, I feel like eyebrows have been a sensitive subject all of my life.
Well, you can always pride yourself on having more than Brandy did as Cinderella.
You are right. She did not have very much. I think they just was like, you're gonna put the liner on the eyebrow and on the lip, and that's it. We're done. That's all.
And that's it. But I guess more, back to, if she was my client, not only would I suggest that she would get, some microblading done, but I would also suggest that they work on setting boundaries. Because I guess that would be my end of seeing her, that maybe it would be Prince and Cinderella coming in for premarital therapy, I guess, if that's my role in the kingdom. Yes. I am the kingdom's therapist.
Yes.
Then I would definitely work on boundary setting, because that is something that they're going to need both for themselves, which I am happy that they were both able to tell each other what it was that they needed from the relationship and how they wanted to be loved. Mm-hmm. But they would also need that with the outside world, because with the mother coming in, I almost called her Brandy, Cinderella's willingness to people please. I could see her putting the queen's needs before the prince's, like you said earlier, and the prince is used to putting his mother's wishes before his own. And so they could easily fall into that pattern. So we would want to try to break that up. I would also like to see I would like to do a little CBT with the queen maybe, and see like what are the thoughts and cognitions or even past experiences or traumas that have led her to feel that she has to rescue the son, that he is, and well, of course he's entitled to, certain things with him being nobility, but like, why do you feel that you have to be the one to carry these things out for him, aside from him developing on his own? So those are the things that I would like to work with all of them on.
Yeah, because they all need it. And especially with that boundary settings, establishing healthy boundaries. And speaking of boundaries, Cinderella has her stepsister and stepmother. What are your thoughts? Where should they go? Do they come into the kingdom when she's establishing these boundaries, or when she established those boundaries with the king and queen? She also has to establish boundaries with the stepmother and stepsisters, right? Facts. So what would that look like?
So if I'm Cinderella, they would have to get up out my daddy's house. So that would be one, because my father built all of this. Y'all done already spent all his money and squandered his wealth. Y'all not going to stay. This is going to be a family house. So, that's going to become my space when I need to get away from the kingdom, me and the king.
Oh, are you going to Airbnb it when you're not there?
No, I'm the queen. I'm the princess. I don't have to. I'm not.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure. All right, cool.
Nah. But they got to get up on my daddy's house. I might, set them up somewhere. And so financially, they would be taken care of, but they would only have access to me on Christmas and Easter. That's the only time that they could come around the palace, because they thought that they deserved to be nobility. And clearly they did not. Mm-hmm. The prince, he wanted me. The music is in me. And so y'all don't get to feel special with your connection to me, except for Christmas and Easter.
I I would actually, if I were Cinderella, I would make them carry my bags when it's time for us to go to the market.
Oh, okay. Little sprinkle of revenge.
A little. Not after all of that. Not you. Listen, you talking about when they go low, we go high. I can't. They dragged her. Okay. They were mean. They were really mean. And so I also maybe in my life experience have dealt with 2 evil sisters at one point. And if I could get revenge, it would be with them. Actually, you know, now that I'm thinking about it and I'm self-reflecting, the time when I was watching Cinderella, and at that age, I was, you know, in a home with 2 sisters, and they would, you know, pick on me, kind of like
so
how
they were your evil stepsisters.
Yeah, which is probably why I feel like really wholeheartedly that I would seek revenge. Carry my thing, and let me sit in my own little corner.
That girl, get the bag.
Right. Yes. So, I mean, but if I were the therapist, I definitely would tell Cinderella to establish those boundaries with her stepmother and her stepsisters, not be revengeful like her therapist would like to be, but to actually practice some compassion and forgiveness. You know, it's not saying that she has to forget it, but she can forgive them, you know, for the experience that she has in order for her to grow and move on past it too.
For her own development.
Yeah.
But did you diagnose the evil stepmother?
I did. So I diagnosed the evil stepmother with borderline personality disorder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more. A little heavy, but you know, it's okay. Let's go.
It says it's a pervasive pattern of instability and interpersonal relationships, self-image, and affects, and marked impulsivity, beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts. So I think that this definitely happened more. I think more of the personality and characteristics started to happen after the loss of her husband, Cinderella's father. And so I think that for one of the criteria is frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. So I think she's having difficulty imagining or realizing that her husband's gone. And then like the impulsivity can be like the desire to spend or to seem as if she's wealthy. So like that self-image, especially, like she just carried herself and expected her daughters to carry themselves in a way like they're the who's who. And it's just kind of like, but who are you? You know, like, but you can tell her that, and she money like she had it like that. A pattern of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships. I feel like the relationships with her actual daughters and Cinderella are definitely intense, and can, like, for one, there's idealization. So for her daughters, there's a sense of idealization in that, oh, they're beautiful, they're perfect, but then devaluation of Cinderella because she wasn't her daughter. And then identity disturbance, again, that's unstable self-image or a sense of self. I don't know if we really see any substance abuse in here or like suicidal or self-mutilating or anything like that. But I could see, honestly, just the chronic feelings of emptiness, inappropriate, intense anger, difficulty controlling anger. So you saw that when she was like fussing and cussing out Lionel and whomever were getting her way. So yeah, that's why I gave her borderline personality disorder.
Okay, now I feel like super lenient because I diagnosed her with post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I felt like because she at one point had to be some type of loving, caring, supportive partner and mother for Cinderella's father to want to marry her, want to bring her into everything that he had going on. He was really looking for somebody to help him raise Cinderella. And so I feel like at some point she had to be like at least a normal functioning woman. And I feel like maybe because of the death of her husband, and we don't know what happened to Minerva and Calliope. I said it right that time. Calliope's father, since we don't know what happened to their daddy. It could be an experience where she has tragically lost a couple of intimate partners. And so that experience, I felt like it seems like in the storytelling is what was the catalyst for her to then become resentful. And the part of PTSD is trying to avoidance of negative triggers and memories that remind you of what the trauma is. And so each time she looks at Cinderella, that could potentially be like her going back to that negative, the reminder of the trauma of losing him. And so then she becomes irritable and ugly and mean towards Cinderella. She hasn't worked since the father has passed. And so they kind of are living off the last little bit of money that he had left over. And so that could be from a place of like hurt and pain, not being able to hold a steady job or take care of the household in that way. But I can clearly see that like you really don't care about none of that, and you feel like she was evil when she did Cinderella wrong. And so we just gonna say that, you know, she was evil because, you know, evil stepmother. You win.
Yes, and if she yes, I think that's it. She's borderline. So thank you guys. Let me know that one. Cause that's it.
Okay.
Okay. So,
moving on to the stepsisters.
So for the stepsisters, honestly, I gave both of them conduct disorders. More so Minerva than Calliope. Did I say her name right?
Yes.
Calliope.
I had to write it down phonetically because I was calling her all types of callios and candlesticks,
cauliflower,
cattle progs, and cattle lilies, and she was something different every time I thought about it.
Okay, right. Her and the sea lady.
Callio. That's what I was. It went a lot of places.
Callio. Sound like it could be a cereal. Look-key.
I went Magnolia Shorty with it.
Let me see. So for conduct disorder, yeah, I would give them both conduct disorder, simply because they both they would fight with each other. They bullied Cinderella. They bullied each other. They were disruptive. They never used a weapon to cause serious harm, but if they had it, I'm sure they would. And we didn't see
gosh.
Okay. They often initiate fights. You saw that in that first scene with that stupid, ugly hat. Okay. Cinderella didn't even take sides. She didn't even say the hat looked cute. She said the hat didn't fit neither one of them. It just wasn't a good look for either one of them. And then she's like, I don't know anything about hats. And it's like, well, what do you know? She said she didn't know anything about hats. Like, why y'all starting to fight? Y'all just wanted me to be a part of this. So either way, if she said it would look good on Minerva, or if it looked good on Callio, then either way, she was going to be wrong. So that's that. And then physically cruel to people. I feel like they be pushing people around. Minerva almost took off Lionel's neck because she said, what'd you do to the slipper? It used to fit me yesterday. She was
lying. It fit at the ball.
Right. And then even at the ball, she was like, what'd she say? Let
me at him.
Relax, calm down. And then deceitfulness or theft, I wouldn't say that neither of them, would steal, but I feel like they were both deceitful. All three of them were deceitful with trying to fit their feet in that glass slipper.
You can't blame that now on just them. The whole doggone kingdom put their foot in that nasty slipper. Some of them barefoot. Cinderella's gonna have athlete's foot by the time she get that shoe on, putting it on after all them people with all them different pantyhose, and they had their feet on the ground and then put it in there.
She gonna have a
okay, so here, well, let me propose this. So since we're saying that, evil stepmothers is evil. Like, it's in the name. She's evil. She's, what you said, borderline? She's borderline. Her personality disorder is impacting and impeding her ability to successfully and healthily parent. Could then we go with lesser diagnosis for Minerva and Calliope? Because they are, is this what they're brought up in?
No. Okay. No. Now, maybe Calliope, because Calliope, I think, no. I think, though, seriously, that Calliope might get like just maybe a lower diagnosis. Maybe, I don't know what I would give her, but she seems to be influenced by Minerva and her stepmother.
Very true.
And how, they treat her. But I think that the girls also follow suit of their mother in treating Cinderella the way they do.
Calliope so much so I just assumed that she was the younger sister in that dynamic, because she was, like following up behind. And then I'm gonna bat my eyelids.
Oh, and then what'd you give them for a diagnosis?
So I was gonna give Minerva to explain her outbursts. Let me at him.
Right. And that itching.
And the itching. I diagnosed her with chronic motor tic disorder with her itching, where the tics may wax and wane in frequency, but have persisted for more than 1 year since tic onset, and they come with the thoughts and impulses, the anxious feelings, and she just couldn't stop itching.
That's sad. That is so sad. I can agree with that, because like sometimes when I get nervous, I get a little itchy. I get sweaty.
Get itchy when I'm sleepy.
Yeah, I do get itchy.
This is weird. I don't know why we're sharing this, but yeah, like when I'm fighting sleep, I'm like, I'm tired. I itchy.
And I get aggravated because I'm scratching myself, like I'm itchy, like, and I know I'm not. I'm just tired. It's true. Aw.
But then I didn't diagnose Calliope with a full diagnosis, but I did want to just note for future reference and further consideration that she had an affect incongruence with all of that. And yeah, so no, that can be, affect incongruence can be an early sign of psychosis. And so while I don't think that that's the case, she's not displaying a full psychosis right now, but I just want to note and bring to attention.
So you would rather go psychosis route than conduct disorder for her?
No, I'm not going psychosis route. I'm just saying that I would like to keep everyone's attention. I would note that somewhere in her file, and that she has experienced affect congruence at a substantial level, because he was looking at her like, you crazy bitch, you. What is so funny?
So as far as the sisters go, like, do you have any other disorders? So you gave them.
So then I guess we can go with your conduct disorder, and then Minerva just also has a tic disorder, and we're noting Calliope's affect incongruence.
There we go. I think that makes sense. So what's the overall like prognosis for Cinderella and her family?
And so I think that it's good. So my favorite song in the whole movie, aside from, of course, It's Possible, would be Do I Love You Because You're Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that their voices are just beautiful. Brandy and Paolo, they harmonized well together. They looked great. They were singing an amazing song. The words I just absolutely love. But I also feel like it's really good for them. And I'm glad that they were asking those questions, from a therapeutic stance of, do I love you because I love you? Like, is it the love for you that is attracting? Like, because this is weird. We just met, and
right.
And so is it infatuation? Is it, do I just like you because you look good? Like, I'm glad that they were asking those questions. And so them starting off asking do I love you because you're beautiful? Or are you beautiful because I want you? Like, them really being reflective of their relationship and how it started out so early. All of that and coupled with them both telling each other what they wanted from each other. I feel like if they can get healthy boundaries and dad can really step in and give more healthy parenting strategies to his wife, then I think that they really could have a beautiful relationship. And I think that their prognosis could be good if they are good with setting those boundaries. They determine what it is that they want for their relationship. And as it relates to the kingdom, if Cinderella can adapt well with going from being a servant girl in her own home to then being nobility and make that transition smooth, I think that they could really have a successful life together and really live happily ever after. I don't know if Cinderella will choose to force her stepmother and stepsisters into slavery, as you suggested that you would. So I don't know what their outlook would look like.
Servitude, not slavery.
Okay, a life of servitude. If she would then be vengeful and seek that for them, but I don't see them improving. I feel like unless the mother can really get help on, if it is the death of the partner that is kind of the catalyst for her unhealthy or maladaptive coping skills with the borderline personality or the PTSD, if we're being okay, we're taking into consideration her past traumas, whichever. But either way, if she is borderline, either way. So unless she is really serious about seeking services for to help heal that past trauma and help heal all of the things that she may have experienced, which I don't think that she will get, being Cinderella's servant woman, handmaid. I don't think that she'll receive those services. So I say prognosis is terrible for them.
Good.
And I think that we need to medicate the king because the prince, because I still could see that up and down.
I just possibly happening. How you go so hard for the prince and don't go hard for the stepmom? The prince didn't even do nothing.
I'll never rest until I find her again. All my life I've been searching for something. Like it sounds very Kanye to me.
It sounds very R&B. Kanye. Like it sounds very like Tank-ish.
Sounds very 808s and Heartbreak to me.
It sounds like something that Babyface had in one of his lyrics. I feel like that might have been his lyric.
That I will search the entire kingdom and make every woman order every woman in my kingdom to put on the same shoe.
Monica said, I will cross the ocean for you. I will go and bring you the moon. I will be your hero, your strength, anything you need. Okay, so she also did not say, I will never rest until I find this woman that I danced with for 7 minutes. Well, I guess he wasn't gonna rest. That does not.
Now, I gave you conduct disorder for both of them. I gave you borderline.
I just don't know why we gotta do the prince like this.
Because we are watching his depression and
medication
morph into a hypomaniac. I just want him to have an even kill. I want to give him a fair shot at being able to balance, self-regulate, and live his best life. It's for the kingdom. I'm thinking of the people.
Oh, please.
Okay, so before we go, I need to ask this very serious question.
What is it, darling?
Is it just me, or is this whole first half of the movie just like Aladdin?
It might be.
Yeah, I'm not letting it go, because you see the king in his depression, because he's bipolar too. He dresses up like a poor person, like a common person, and goes into the market. Stumbles into this young lady. They interact, and then he doesn't recognize her the next day when she comes as a more presentable version of herself that she has been magically turned into by her fairy mythical being. Ain't that the same thing happened to Aladdin? He bumped into Jasmine while she was, woe is me, I'm a princess, life is so difficult. I don't know why royalty always wants to dress up as regular people. Like, poverty is not fun. It's not amazing. But she bumps into Aladdin. He saves her. She doesn't recognize him when Genie, his magical mythical being, makes him into Prince Alibaba and sends him on up to her front living room. It's the same thing to me. I feel like they need to get more creative.
It might be, especially like Cinderella is like the female version of like what could happen, and then I think just Aladdin is like the male version. Like,
they know how to milk a concept, don't they? Disney's gonna make their coins, ain't they?
Oh, they sure is. Have you seen the clip of like Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and the kid from
Mowgli?
Jungle Book? Yeah, from Jungle Book. Like, they have the same scene of them going up on this rock and like, messing around with the fox. Like, it's really the same. I think
we are on to you, Disney.
Yeah, Disney definitely plagiarizes themselves, and I just think they need to be canceled.
Whoa, that escalated fast.
Listen, in the time of cancellation.
Cancel culture is not healthy. People have to grow, but Disney has had more than enough opportunity to try and grow. So I might be with you on that.
Listen, I'm willing to get canceled. If the day that I get canceled, that means that I've made it somewhere for me to be canceled.
But we do the show together. So if they cancel you, then there go my stuff too. You being selfish.
We're not gonna get canceled, girl. We ain't nothing to cancel.
So to close us out, I just wanted to send a big just moment of just honoring and respecting first the actress that played Minerva, of course, Natalie Desselle, who we recently lost. Just give just honor and respect all of the greatness and everything that is Whoopi Goldberg, and how much we just love everything that she's in, collaborates on, is a part of, produces, whatever she does is just gold, because she's the GOAT. And then give a special thank you to Whitney Houston and her curly wig in this movie. But
anytime I have a curly wig, I think about Whitney Houston, especially blonde. I think about that.
You should sing How It's Possible.
Impossible. I like the impossible version. Impossible burger.
Wow. But this movie came to be, this version of the movie came to be because Whitney saw the success of the 1993 television adaptation of the stage musical Gypsy. And so then she said, you know what, we can do something similar to that. And so she called up some people and was like, hey, I have this idea of remaking the Rodgers and Hammerstein's version of Cinderella for TV. And they was like, yeah, Whitney, we like that. Just hold on. So they put her on pause, and then by the time they got back to her, they was like, hey, Whitney, that idea that you had? Yeah, let's do that. We ain't doing nothing right now. Our straight for TV stuff is looking kind of dim. And she was like, yeah, so when I wanted to do that, I was a little bit younger. I'm too old to do that now. But let's get my girl Brandy. She could do it. And then, I could be the family fairy godmother. And so her casting of all of the multiracial, the multicultural cast, and having people who just were good at their role, regardless of what they looked like, all of that was part of her vision. And so just want to give a huge thank you. Thank you, Whitney, for your vision and making this happen, your dedication and fortitude to seeing this project through, even though the powers that be tried to put her on ice.
Yes. That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's some new knowledge to me. I appreciate that.
Yes. And I feel like we there's just so many stories throughout all of Hollywood of people of color just really having to stick to what they believe, having ideas, having concepts in their mind, and really having to push through because other people don't necessarily see it. They don't understand the vision. And then once we're allowed to get the resources that we need, we're able to make gold. And so
that's right.
Support all art, because we need it.
We do, especially now. COVID definitely shut down a lot of things as it relates to plays. And I believe you said Paolo.
Paolo. I love his name.
He's a Broadway star, right? He was in a lot of plays and things like that. So a lot of that is not happening right now. So however we can support our arts, we got to do it. We have to do our part.
Yes, there's lots of, like you were saying, with us being at this panic of the disco called COVID, we are seeing a lot of organizations that are trying to stream live acts and performances and put stuff on, and the show must continue, the show must go on, but they need your support in order to make that happen. In this movie, it brings back some of those good feelings of going in the summertime and seeing Shakespeare in the Park, where you have different types of actors of shapes, sizes, colors, and ages who just have a genuine love for the art form. And so I just think that this movie was so great, and I did not know how much I needed a Black princess until until seeing this. Like, I didn't know that I was missing it. And then once I had a Black princess, I was like, oh, wow, this is great. I want more.
I know it. Yes. And she's a Black princess who wasn't turned into another character, or I mean, not another character, but
an animal, a blob.
Yes. We'll talk about that next time with Disney.
Disney, I'm tired of your shit. You know what?
Well, friends, listeners,
if you would like to support the show, give Disney the shaft.
Brittany, we gotta tell our people how to support us.
Oh, yes.
We got merch. Make sure you check out our website. We definitely have plenty of different merchandise for you all to help support us. What we got on there, Courtney? We got mugs.
We have so much different types of things. We have pillows, we have magnets, we have stickers, we have water bottles, we have coffee mugs, we have did I say bags? But we got phone cases. We have my most favorite item that we have is our face mask, because it fits awesome. It's definitely necessary during these Pantene Pro V times that we're going through. And it has the metal bridge thing that goes over your nose, because I have a really big nose, but then it also has the adjustable strap so you can change how it fits on your face, because I have a tiny head. And so it just fits perfect, and it's cute, and it has our logo on it. So if you would like to support the show to help us get more content out to you all, you can go on our show and go on our website and follow the support the show link to become a Patreon member, donate on our Cash App, or you can buy our merch on the Hurry Up and Buy link. Now, we're happy to get the kind of money that jingles, but we'd rather the kind that folds. As always, be sure to follow us on Instagram at the DSM Podcast, and you can subscribe to our show wherever you get podcasts. While you're there, go ahead and leave us a comment, because we are counselors and we actually care about what you have to say. Until next time, y'all. Peace.
Okay, bye.